Thank you to Sages for the opportunity to present our research. I know the title is a mouthful. These are disclosures. So endoscopic submucosal dissection is a procedure that requires a unique skill set. The endoscopist must perform bowel wall injection into the submucosal layer while also controlling a moving scope tip with a hot knife protruding to cut tissue while recognizing layers of the bowel wall. This is unique to ESD, as usually a lot of endoscopic procedures are done with a more static platform, usually with injection. Challenges to learning ESD clinically is that it's usually done through an apprenticeship model, and that can take years in a clinical setting given the paucity of appropriate cases. In training with the in vivo model, it's usually expensive and not practical to do in a large form. And with the ex vivo model, it's cheaper but still requires staff for tissue prep and procedure assistance. We created a model that allows focused practice in a non-clinical setting where the training period can be defined. Our objective was to teach three-dimensional scope tip control with a protruding instrument. We used an inanimate tube model, and we wanted to use the endoscope to trace line figures using the endoscope like a pen. The variables that we tracked were time, number of pen strokes, line deviations, and gaps in tracing. Here you can see the tube model that we created. We created a window in the tube. We placed the tracing onto a note card and into the window. We took the tip from a tissue marker pen and placed it at the end of a sclerotherapy catheter, and that acted as the pen for our model. For our cohort, we had 8 trainees. The number of sessions per trainee ranged from 18 to 74. And each session consisted of 8 tracings, 4 figures done in a mirrored orientation, left to right to left, proximal, distal, vice versa. Here you can see the progression of tip control with the endoscopist training from day 1 to as the sessions progress. You can see that their precision and accuracy increases over time in both the photographic and the quick video blur we have. We found that the mean time per tracing decreased until a skill plateau is reached. For this cohort, it was around 10 sessions, and the average time per tracing went from 65 seconds per tracing to 29.2 after the learning curve. So we found most of our quality metrics showed improvement, and most other parameters reached a plateau after 12 to 16 sessions. Our resident and fellow participants felt that their scope skills improved with scope insertion, as well as biopsy in our ex vivo model, and then our one attending trainee that was already performing ESD and EMR clinically also found that his skill set had improved. Our preliminary results suggest that the inanimate model holds promise for improving scope tip control and endoscopy skills. You can schedule training sessions and perform the training in a relatively short period of time. Repetitive figure tracing may enhance endoscopic skills from what we've seen. In the future, we hope to have more trainees. A bigger N is always good. The clinical impact of training needs to be objectively determined, and we could try to modulate the model's diameter or the physical model itself to train other aspects like scope, torque, or rotation. And ideally, we couple this with an ex vivo ESD model for a more comprehensive training experience. Thank you.